looking at the Laranja, yeah. And it's a medium brown. It's got a very slight tooth to it. Has a nice kind of leathery smell to it. The feel, it's not a real hard packed one, but it's got a medium pack size in there like that. And this one I'm smoking here is a 6.5 inch by 52. And today I'm going to go ahead and use a V cut as well. I tend to like the V cuts over the straight cuts. Just for me, like I said, I like an easier draw and a smoother draw. Sometimes with a flat cut, it can kind of bunch or pinch a little bit. And I have a really good cutter that will do that and keep that from happening. But still, on occasion, you're still going to get that. I just find that the V cut fits my mouth better, and it also, I usually get a little bit better draw because it's a little bit deeper in there like that. The problem you do have to watch with that, though, sometimes is cutting with the V cutter. You can see that that's a pretty deep cut in there. And sometimes if there's a very shallow cap, or if the cap's not glued on very well, it will split that cap in half, and then, of course, you're going to start to have it unraveling problems. This Colibri V cutter does a pretty well job, but it's a pretty deep V cut as well, too. So sometimes when I put pressure on that, I don't go all the way into it, just if I know, especially if there's a shallow cap that's on there and it only has like one cap on there. Initial flavor out of the first deal, of course, there's a tiny little bit of bitterness, and I've talked about this before about how when you first light it up, because you have so much tar and so much of the blackness in there like that, you're going to get kind of a little bit bitter taste like that, and that usually goes away pretty quickly most of the time. On this one right here, it's coming off as a leather and a slight pepper. It's got a really nice easy draw. Yeah, a little bit of cedar as well in there. Very nice, good smoke. These typically run anywhere from about $8 to, I've seen them as high as $12, but on average somewhere between $8 and $12 I've seen them at the B&M or brick and mortar. I paired it this time with and we're in Texas, so it's I like margaritas, if you can't tell. So this one, I used an orange citrus margarita. So it's got tequila in there. Then it's got Patron Citron. Then it's also got one of those little small mandarin oranges. It's got that crushed up in there with the lime and the agave in there like that. So it's going to give me, it's pretty much like an orange margarita like that to go with the Laranja, thus the hat as well. Oh yeah. Well, we're going to get into the first third here and see how it works out and see how it transitions. Very nice. And we'll be back. Okay, we're back. I'm into the first third of it there, and the ash it's not as pretty as some of the other, but it's ash, right? So it's kind of got this little blacker, darker, but it's holding together well. You can see it's over an inch, and it's about 20 minutes into the cigar here, and it's holding together well like that. Gonna probably tap it here pretty soon, because if not, it's gonna end up in my lap, is what usually happens. And we'll go into it from there. Now the flavors coming out of it, it's gone from that medium to just slight, little less than medium right now. And actually that drier leather is turned into more of a creamy kind of leather, if that's the thing, a creamy leather. And there's no pepper whatsoever. You've got I still have, the cedar has died down too as well. So it's not as near as that dry cedar as it was when I first started out. And a little bit of that orange sweetness is starting to come through, as I had in my last cigar, the last one that I had of the Laranja. And I'm a big fan of these right here. it's windy out here. If you can tell, the wind's blowing, and it's in Texas, so I would compare the wind here to probably Chicago. It blows a lot in the spring and fall, and we're in the fall right now. It's time for Halloween, and the wind just every day blows so much. So that may be contributing to a little bit of that wobble in there like that. I had to touch it up once before over there like that. So, you know, if the wind is blowing a lot and it's kind of blowing it around, I'm going to touch that up just a little bit. Of course, you're going to get a different flavor from that right there. But we're going to get into the second third here, see how this goes, if it changes anymore. And the flavor profile has really smoothed out. It's gotten very creamy. The smoke is very creamy. It's gotten a light, sweet taste. And still I get that orange, kind of a hint of an orange in the back. That kind of citrus flavor into it. That's why I call it Laranja. And the leather is it's not as dry anymore. It's a lot smoother. It's really gotten to be a really nice cigar too. The only issue that I have, and I find this too with a lot of cigars sorted, you know, from the low to mid range. Very rarely do I have it on a premium cigar. But I took the wrapper off it, the band off. It was getting really close, kind of close right there. And as I did, the glue that they used on there was kind of stuck over into my leaf. So you can kind of see on here how it kind of pulled up the wrapper a little bit. Now the binder's okay, so it's still okay to smoke, but that's really kind of irritating when you've got a really good cigar that you pay $8 to $12 for, and you're trying to take off the band, and that glue that they've put in there like that has stuck over, and it's kind of pulled that up right there. So it's not that it's so terrible, but it is kind of annoying. Like, you know, you've got the cigar, and now it kind of looks like that right there. Like I said, the binder's still holding. It's still going to smoke good, and it's going to smoke down to that. But I really prefer if they paid a little bit more attention to when they're putting those bands on, the glue that they do. And usually in the finer cigars, more premium cigars, you don't have that problem very often. It still happens on occasion, but very rarely. Now the margarita, the orange margarita, the citrus orange margarita is still doing fabulously. The ash held together very well. I did a little tap right there to get that off there because I do, especially with this wind, it's probably going to fall off, and usually as it does, in my lap. But a nice smooth cigar. Is this a good cigar or a bad cigar? This is a good cigar. Would I buy a box and smoke these on a daily basis? Probably would. I tend to like these ones. It's on the light to medium range. And don't get me wrong, I like a full cigar sometimes. But on a day like this when it's nice with a margarita, I like just a straight up medium. You know, it had a little bit flavor profile that it's gotten smoother and easier. Any bit of the harshness that was the beginning of it has all gone away. And like I said, it's gotten very, very smooth. The smoke is light and just a little bit of creaminess to it. All right, I'm going to get into the last third, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm into the last third right here, getting down to the end. And like I said, it's windy out here, so having a little bit of a burn issue on that one side, but I'm not too worried about it because it is so windy, kind of blowing it around. It's having a harder time blowing even on that. But the cigar and the flavor profile has still been extremely, extremely smooth. It's even mellowed out more than it was in the second third. It's still very light, creamy. It's gone from that medium to a light now. Still very creamy. The leather, once again, has died down. Still getting, on the finish, a nice little taste of orange on the back, or a citrus on the back right there. And there's just a little bit of sweetness on that as well. The draw and everything is still perfectly good. The wrapper, that was the only real issue with it. Is this a good cigar? I would get these and smoke these often. And remember, like I've always said, life is too short for bad cigars. So this is a good cigar. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Hit the like button and leave me a comment. We're going to get down to this and put this out here pretty soon here because it's getting a little soft and getting down by the end. But I'll probably go ahead and smoke this one down to the nub and finish up my margarita. So once again, it's TheGoodCigar.com. My name is Al Roman, and we'll see you next time.